Geeks and Gamers. Welcome to another editorial. This one I am talking about Doom: The Dark Ages, the brand new Doom game from id and Bethesda and Microsoft. I am here to talk about the game. It came out a few days ago at the time of this recording. I beat it yesterday. I played it all throughout the weekend, and as a huge Doom fan, I have come away with some thoughts on the game. I was very excited for Doom: The Dark Ages because it is the third iteration of the new Doom franchise that started with the 2016 Doom game, which Doom 2016 I hold in such high regards as a shooter fan who at the time kind of felt out of place. I'm not really into a lot of the online shooters that are popular. Looter shooters aren't really my thing outside of like a few games that I kind of have fun with. Like I kind of like Borderlands, but for the most part, games like Destiny just don't do it for me. And it just, at a time, especially back in 2016, it just seemed like the shooter genre just wasn't made for me anymore. For the games that I grew up with, games like Doom and Turok and GoldenEye, like that sort of era of what they call the boomer shooters, right? It seemed like most of those games kind of died around the PS2, maybe some into the 360, but still, they weren't common. So to see Bethesda push Doom out in 2016, and it was a huge success, and it translated the ideas of the original Doom over into a modern setting like flawlessly. And I loved it. At the time, I was also a big fan of the Wolfenstein games that they were doing. I love Wolfenstein: The New Order and the second one, Wolfenstein: The New Colossus. I was really into what Bethesda was doing with these id properties. And to say that I kind of fell off would be a bit of an understatement. Doom Eternal, I liked. I thought it was a good game, but it just didn't hit the same as Doom 2016 for me. And I've seen some other people kind of feel that way too. It's not a bad game at all. It's just, I don't know. It came out and I played some of it and I was like, yeah, like it just kind of felt like it was not really like the progression of, like that I wanted to see from 2016. It felt, I don't know, something felt off about it. I kind of want to go back and revisit Eternal now that I've played this one. Because now, here in 2025, almost 10 years later from 2016, 9 years, we have Doom: The Dark Ages, which is a prequel to Doom 2016. And Doom: The Dark Ages is almost perfect. And you could take that as a negative, you could take it as a positive. I'm going to come out the gate and say that I really, really enjoyed my time with Doom: The Dark Ages. I think that what the team did is impressive. I like the fact that all of the newer Doom games have their own feel. So they never really feel copy and paste, like from 2016 to Eternal to Dark Ages. And I think Dark Ages has a really engaging gameplay loop. Dark Ages, unlike Eternal, which was kind of like more about like being fast and running and jumping, Dark Ages is like heavy and like you feel like a tank, and it's more about like parrying and like kind of like throwing your shield and parrying, and there's like this sense of like, yeah, it's a shooter, but some of the combat is very up close and personal, and it seems like the game was designed around that to where you have to be up close and personal with the enemies while there's just a ton of enemies on screen at once. It kind of creates this like cool dance that you're doing around the battlefields. And at points, like, I got so into this game that I was just kind of like doing it without even thinking. I was like in this trance. To where there's so much happening, there's so many enemies, there's so much to like parry, and on screen it may look like there's just a lot going on with the projectiles and stuff, but you get locked in, and it was a ton of fun to experience. Now, I do want to talk about aspects of the game that could be considered spoilers here. So if you want to play Doom: The Dark Ages, I think you should. I think that's the takeaway you should get from this video is I really liked it. So if you want to play it, stop here, go play it. Don't listen to the rest of this editorial. Doom: The Dark Ages is almost perfect. I think there's a few issues with the game that stop it from being better than, say, 2016. One of the big issues, I think, is the fact that a huge chunk of the game is dedicated to narrative, which, you know, I understand that they want to expand the lore of this new Doom universe. But it feels like a betrayal of the property in some ways. Not saying that I didn't fully enjoy any of the cutscenes or any of the characters, because there was points that I did like. But the fact that you're taken out of some parts of the game for cutscene feels weird, especially when in 2016 they made it such a integral part of the game that there were no real cutscenes or story bits. You're just the Doomslayer and you're gonna fucking kill demons and he doesn't care what's happening. That's Doom, right? It's all about the power trip. And there's points in this game where it's focused on other characters that I don't really care about. That whenever the Doomslayer isn't on screen, I'm more okay, but where's the Slayer? What's he doing? I don't care about this random chick or this king guy or I want to see the Slayer. And then there's also points where you're watching the Slayer do things that is confusing. I'm why am I watching him do this cool sequence? I want to be doing that sequence. That's the whole point of Doom, is to put you in the shoes of this awesome killing machine who's going to kill all these demons. I don't want to watch him do things, I just want to do it. So that's a big point of contention for me, is that I felt like the narrative the part of the game was a little unnecessary at points, but I can forgive it, and you could also skip the cutscenes. So why am I bitching, right? If I don't want to see the cutscenes, just skip a cutscene, whatever. One of the other things that kind of weighs this one down is, and this is really of no fault of this game in particular, but Doom 2016 had such an iconic soundtrack done by Mick Gordon. It's such a heavy metal soundtrack that really flows with the game and works well. It's fantastic. Even if you don't want to play Doom 2016, if you like metal, you owe it to yourself to listen to that game soundtrack. And Mick Gordon worked on other id properties around that time, like Wolfenstein and Doom Eternal. But there's some issues between Mick Gordon and Bethesda, and Mick Gordon was a contractor, by the way, and he was mistreated. And if I don't have time to really get into all that and all of what happened. If you're curious, there is a great video by Mild Conviction here on YouTube called "The Mistreatment of Mick Gordon: A Freelancer's Worst Nightmare." I recommend you go watch that video. It's very informative, and it'll get the point across of why Mick Gordon didn't return for the Dark Ages. I don't blame the guy. The shit he had to go through was crazy, and I just wished him the best. But with Mick Gordon gone, there is this absence that you feel in the game soundtrack. Now this game soundtrack was done by Finishing Move Inc., a production house, and I think it's good. I have listened to it on its own. I've played it. Of course, I heard it in the game. It is a good soundtrack, but the problem is that it's almost impossible to live up to what Mick Gordon was doing with the last two games. And it kind of pales in comparison. So while for any other game, I think the Doom Dark Ages soundtrack would be just phenomenal. For trying to follow up what Mick Gordon did, it feels off. It's good though. It is a pretty good soundtrack. Like I think if you listen to it on its own, it holds up and it's great. So I do not want to like diminish the work of Finishing Move Inc. I just think that like it was a lose-lose situation with this game soundtrack. Like there was really no way they were going to come out on top without having Mick Gordon on the project. But I also understand that he wants to stay far away from Bethesda at this point. And I do not blame him. That was after learning what happened there. I was like, yeah, fuck them, fuck Bethesda, fuck this shit. I don't blame you, man. Yeah, and you know, there's some other things. This game didn't launch with any multiplayer, which I kind of understand, and I also don't really care that much about. So I'm not gonna make that a big sticking point. But like, 2016 and Eternal had multiplayer. So the lack of multiplayer here on Dark Ages kind of feels weird, but at the same time, I never played the multiplayer in 2016 or Eternal, so it doesn't matter to me. But I kind of understand why it's not here, because like the gameplay loop for Dark Ages is so based on like parrying and like recognizing patterns in the bullets. Like it's almost like a 3D bullet hell at points. So I understand that like maybe that's hard to balance for like a multiplayer experience, and maybe the only way to do that for this game is to like take some of those elements out for multiplayer. I don't know. Maybe they'll introduce it later. Who knows? I'm not really that concerned about it. I know they're doing more campaign DLC. Yeah, the campaign's really good though. It's like 22 chapters. And you go to like some pretty cool locations. There's no Mars in this game. It takes place before 2016, so it takes place in like another realm entirely. You're not even on Earth or Mars or anything. But you know, you're fighting through like medieval villages. You're fighting through like hell, of course. You have to have hell. It's a Doom game. But you know, they pulled some like surprising locations. One of my favorite areas in this game is the Cosmic Realm, which is very much based on like Lovecraftian horror, which I am a huge Lovecraft fan, so like I was so excited at that portion of the game. There's cool variety. There's levels where you're flying a cybernetic dragon, which was fucking sick. There's levels where you're piloting a giant mech. You know, some of the later parts of this game get insane. One of the highlights of like the later chapters of the game, I think it was like chapter 20, 21, somewhere around there, like right at the end, was you got to pilot one of the big Atlan mechs, which are huge, by the way. And whenever you're piloting one of those, unless the game like gives you a gun to use in the level, you're just kind of fist fighting giant monsters. And there's a boss fight where you get to fist fight Cthulhu. And, well, they don't call him Cthulhu, but they call him the old one, and he looks like Cthulhu. It's fucking Cthulhu. And, oh my god, I was so happy to be able to fist fight Cthulhu. That was fucking awesome. You know, and some of the boss fights later on are actually pretty good, I think. And the game, in terms of difficulty, my first time through, I just played it on Hurt Me Plenty because I wanted to, which is I think is just like the standard difficulty, because I wanted to like experience the game first and like learn how the gameplay loop works before I try anything crazy. But there's a ton of difficulty settings, and it's all the difficulties are also like customizable. So you can really choose to play the game the way you want. If you want it to be easy, you can, or if you want like certain elements included or excluded, you can do that. So the game really scales to like what you want the game to be. Yeah, Doom: The Dark Ages does a lot right. I really liked it. I'm glad I played it. It's been a while since a game has come out, and I really like played it all the way through within the course of like 2 days, you know. But that's just how much fun I was having. I was having so much fun that yesterday I spent most of the day playing it. And towards the end of the day, I was like nearing the end of the game, and I could feel my like hands like actively cramp because I had just, you know, it's such like a like intense game, and I'm like, you know, pushing all these buttons and like gripping the Xbox controller, and I could feel my hands start to cramp up, but like I'm still pushing through because like I was so close to the end. I was like, I have to see this through. Like I'm not stopping here. Yeah, and it's great. I am gonna play through it again. I want to experience some of the higher difficulties. There are a ton of secrets and unlockables to find throughout the levels, so there's there are reasons to go back through. Yeah, Doom the Dark Ages I think was almost perfect. I think there's just a few minor issues that hold it back that don't make it quite as good as 2016. But I think if you like 2016 and if you liked Eternal, I think you should definitely give Doom the Dark Ages a try.
Saw something with a purple key. What's going on here? So, oh, there's my purple key. Oh shit! Like I said, I am on chapter 9. So I'm out of 22. So I'm pretty deep into this game now. I love how weighty Doom Guy feels in this game. Like, he feels like a fucking tank. Like a monster.